What is emotional eating? Emotional eating is when a person turns to food as a way to cope with certain emotions. For example, stress, anxiety, boredom, loneliness, sadness, to name a few. Emotional eating tends to suppress the negative emotions that can feel quite uncomfortable for folks who perhaps have no other means of coping. Emotional eating can also occur due to positive emotions, where a person may turn to food as a way to celebrate or to reward themselves for an accomplishment. Emotional eating is a very common occurrence. However, it can be problematic more so if a person has no other means of coping with uncomfortable emotions, or if food is perhaps the only way that they celebrate or reward themselves. How to manage emotional eating? It can be helpful to have the support of a registered dietitian and therapist who both specialize in disordered eating. Together, they can help you to have a better understanding of your unique triggers and underlying emotional needs. They can also help you to develop resilience to the emotional discomfort that inevitably happens as we start to move away from emotional eating, with the goal of learning other ways of coping without the use of food. Registered dietitians can also help you to be more intentional with food. The goal is not to completely eliminate emotional eating, but rather to have a better understanding of your individual needs and when it is appropriate to turn to food and when perhaps it is not. What are the common reasons for emotional eating? Emotional eating can occur for the purpose of pleasure, comfort, distraction, numbing, punishment, and self-sabotage. Distraction and numbing can be common in folks who are trying to suppress their emotions, and I tend to see this often in folks who struggle with binge eating. Several of my clients with a history of chronic dieting often engage in emotional eating for the purpose of punishment or self-sabotage, especially if they have difficulty adhering to a rigid diet or feel as though they have failed. A common thought pattern that I tend to hear from clients is, "Oh, well, I've already eaten XYZ and messed up my day, so what's the point?" And unfortunately, it leads to a snowball effect. This is where it can be particularly helpful to explore and challenge one's beliefs about food, and ultimately to reframe those beliefs, again, with the help of a registered dietitian and therapist.